everyone, I'm Monica Hasibi with Mindstream Analytics. I am sitting here towards the last day of Kscope 14 in the Social Media Lounge in Seattle, Washington. I have Gary Crisci with me from GE. How you doing?
Good. How are you today, Monica?
I'm doing fabulously. The conference is kind of coming to an end, and how has it been for you?
It's been great. You know, every year it seems to get better. The content is always excellent. What I really see every year, the improvement is always in the vendor participation. They're just getting more and more excited every year. You could see the traffic on the expo floor. When you look back a few years to where it's come to now, it's just a completely different conference, and it's really great to just see that energy level at participation.
Right, nice. So I know you had a presentation at the conference.
Yes.
So what are some highlights that you can talk about for those of us who missed it?
Okay, so the presentation that I did was on financial reporting concepts in ASO databases.
Okay.
One of the challenges with ASO is that you want to balance performance against functionality. It's very fast as long as you operate within its bumper rails.
Okay.
But certain things, so it adds very well, you know, that it's right in the name, aggregate. But when you try to deviate from that and make it think, sometimes it can slow down. Forgiving for small databases can become more problematic as you get larger. And when we think about some of the things that we try to do in financial reporting, a lot of times we want to do things like subtraction, and we want to do variance analysis, and things that actually require a little bit more thinking.
Okay.
And so my presentation focused on what you could do up front to design a little bit differently so that you could allow it to just work within those bumper rails of just aggregating up and being extremely fast.
Okay.
And so it went pretty well. I think the information was well received. I saw people nodding and not really nodding out. They were nodding in agreement and taking notes. So I was like, all right, this is good. It seemed good.
Okay. Well, it sounds interesting. Yeah, so I know I was told that you were the S-Space guy, the S-Space guru of the event.
I've been doing it for a while. I think I have some good experience with it. I think there's a lot of people here with just as much good experience. It's a little intimidating when you come here. You think you know a lot, and then you start talking to people and you're like, wow, I just ran into somebody who's actually smart. So, you know,
nice.
But
so what are
own.
some of the new S-Space functions and enhancements that you see?
Yeah, I think some of the really interesting stuff that's coming down the line with S-Space is one of the big things that we've heard about and talked about, and I've actually played around with this back in our lab, is this hybrid mode. And so what you have is you have the S-Space block storage model, which has always been around, and now you have, for a number of years now, the S-Space aggregate storage model. But they're very different, and you develop differently and you build differently when you set these databases up. So it's very hard to kind of have a BSO database and an ASO database that really look exactly the same. You can't really share the metadata because they require different property settings. And as I mentioned, my whole session was built around kind of how do you compensate for the differences.
Right.
What the hybrid mode enables you to do is it allows you to take a BSO application, build it as a BSO application, but turn on ASO features for certain parts of the cube.
Okay.
So it's kind of this march towards the best of both worlds.
Okay.
I can have my BSO cube with my rich procedural calculations and kind of the technology that we've known for many, many years, but in those cases where I have those really large sparse dimensions, I can turn on ASO aggregation for just those dimensions and benefit from this kind of marriage of the two.
Okay.
It's a great new feature. I think it holds a lot of promise. I think everyone here that's dealt with it, and even Oracle has been very forthcoming about the fact that, you know, I wouldn't go out and build a very important application and turn on hybrid mode. It's not really ready yet, but it's getting there, and it's a great step forward, especially when you look at the time it took them to deliver it. Last year we heard them talking about it as a concept, and we're here a year later and it's a reality.
Right.
So I think that shows an impressive commitment to S-Space from Oracle, which has really been great. So I think that's probably the most exciting feature. I mean, I've heard about some other stuff coming that we continue to hear about that are going to improve upon the way it performs and build out the functionality. Sub-select statements and MDX could potentially offer a very fast way to get at data inquiries by focusing the query set. It's kind of similar to SQL, where you're doing kind of a subquery, but with MDX and Essbase, it's going to have a real performance boost, because before it even goes to the cube and has to figure out what it's pulling, you're kind of narrowing the scope.
Okay.
So I think it'll be a really great feature. That actually, I think, it's not out yet, I don't believe, or may have just rolled out in this past release, or it's coming very soon. Okay. So looking forward to playing with that.
Great. Well, thank you for your insight. Our last question before we go is, for our World Cup fans, who are you rooting for?
I do not follow the World Cup.
Really?
I know, it's terrible.
There's
it's
only
terrible.
one right answer.
I got to go with U.S.
There you go.
There you go. That makes it easy, right?
Exactly. Well,
right.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks so much.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.